Today I'm going to tell you why Mark and I love living in Bangkok so much. Two of the biggest reasons. I'm going to get into those. But first, I want to start out by saying we haven't lived in the United States for over 4 years now. And I know a lot of things have changed in the United States over the last 4 years. And I also want to say that the United States is a huge country. There's so much variability state to state and even city to city within each state. And I guess I'm saying all of this because we loved our life in the United States and we didn't have a burning desire to leave. We didn't feel like we were living in a hostile nation or a toxic nation. But I don't know what it feels like now, and I don't know what it feels like for you if you're watching and you're living in the United States. I'm talking about our experience. We always knew we'd end up moving abroad simply because we would need to live somewhere in retirement with a lower cost of living where you could still get a good value for your money. When we figured out that in retirement we'd be reducing our income overall to begin with by about 60 to 70%, we just knew there was no way to continue living in San Diego on that much less income. It just wasn't sustainable. So we had no real burning desire to leave the United States. We just knew it would become a necessity because of the places that we could possibly afford to live in the United States. We just didn't want to live in those places. So I just wanted to say all of that up front. And I know that we are really fortunate that we have the choice to be able to live here in Bangkok, and we're really thankful for that. Now, I know a lot of people won't agree with me, but for us, living here in Bangkok, we are living a life very similar to that life we lived back home in San Diego. And we absolutely love that. And we love that we could do it here in Bangkok. Now, we love city living, especially big city living with all of the amenities. And we can do pretty much here in Bangkok all of the things that we were able to do in San Diego, with the exception of going for a walk on the beach. But we have all the things here. And in addition, there is just so much more. We love eating out. Obviously, Bangkok is known for having such a huge variety of food options. We love that about being here. We also love that we can find just about any kind of grocery item that we like. I mean, you have everything from the local markets to the high-end grocery stores and everything in between. We love having access to all of that at our fingertips. We also love that there are so many different housing options depending upon what you're looking for. And we most certainly love that we haven't had to compromise our living standard at all to live here in Bangkok. In fact, there are just so many awesome choices regardless of what your budget is. You really can find something, and I feel like the value for money is incredible when it comes to housing. So, yes, one of the main reasons we love living here is it has been pretty much a seamless transition to come into Bangkok and start figuring things out and how to live here. It hasn't been painful at all. Obviously, no place is perfect, but We love it here so much. We can't really envision ourselves living anywhere else right now. And the second thing that makes living here so enjoyable for us is simply the culture and the people. The kindness and respect for others is just something that's difficult to articulate, but to be able to live in such a big city where there's so much organized chaos and to not have it feel chaotic, it's really something difficult to wrap your head around if it's not something that you're used to. And that's what really makes us feel even more at home here. Keeping in mind that moving to any big city, there is going to be some kind of learning curve, especially if you're not familiar with big city living. And also keeping in mind that we are foreigners and it takes quite a while to figure out just what's really going on. I mean, you can watch so many YouTube videos or read blogs, but that doesn't really give you a true sense of what it's like to actually live somewhere. So I'm going to give you my number one tip for just anytime you're thinking about going somewhere on a trip or moving to another country, another city. I feel like this can help you much more than just focusing on YouTube videos and Facebook expat groups. So anytime we were planning to go on a trip, visit a new country, a new city, back in the day, I used to spend some time on Twitter. I don't do that anymore because Twitter has also changed in the last 4 years. And when I look at it now, it just seems like everybody on Twitter is really angry. But I used to use Twitter as a platform where I would follow different local newspapers. And I really recommend that you figure out what the local newspapers are in the destination that you're looking at going or moving to and start reading them. Each major city around the world will have a local newspaper and English edition. For example, here in Bangkok, there's the Bangkok Post, there's Kasut English, there's the Tiger. But even more than that, I would search for local newspapers in the local language and then work with your Google Translator. This is something you can do from home. And you can start following the news in your chosen future home to kind of get an idea of what the local stories are, what's going on. Because coming into a new place, not speaking the language, you're not going to know what's really going on in the city behind you. And I think it's just important to learn the local government, what's trending locally. It just gives you a little bit more of an insight of how things really are in the place where you're planning to live. So that's my big tip for you. Get on your local newspapers and get on your Google Translate so that you can figure out a little more of what's going on where you're thinking about going instead of trying to get all your information from the echo chambers we call YouTube and Facebook. If you're Thai and you're watching, as foreigners, what do you think we should be reading or consuming to learn more about life here in Thailand? Mark and I enjoy watching local TV programs. We really enjoy watching the commercials because it helps us with our language learning. And we also like watching the music channels because it really has introduced us to a lot of cool Thai music. So let me know in the comments what you would recommend for us. Let me know what you think about this video. Let me know what you think about me saying living in Bangkok is similar to living in San Diego. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.